everybody, Dylan Distraction here, coming to you live from Batlantic Studios. So I'll do a quick back to the drawing board, talk about comic books, and remind you the Kickstarter campaign for Syst the Skin Grafter ends tonight. So if you haven't yet, go to systcomic.com and help us bring this project to life. So let me just make sure the audio is working. Yeah, I sound great. Wow. Ooh, so good. Should have been a DJ. Yeah, so thank you everyone that's gone to systcomic.com and help get the project funded. We have hit goal, and we have added a bunch of awesome things. So if you want to increase your pledge, if you want to increase your reward, you can. You can add a bunch of cool stuff. You can, let me grab what we got here. Everybody's going to be getting the standard cover, but you can add an upgrade for the variant big face cover and the variant blank cover. If you want, I'll do a drawing on the blank cover, which is what I'm going to be doing when I flip the camera and show you what's on my drawing table. Going to be doing a little live drawing this evening as we wind down and wrap up the campaign. And yeah, thank you so much to all 73 backers that have helped bring this project to life. So appreciative, so thankful. I really, really am so happy making comics, and it's so awesome to find people that enjoy my work and want to support it. Yeah, when I started in publishing, I always wanted to make my own comic books. I always wanted to make my own books. I love printing. I love digital. I love drawing. I love writing. I love all of it. So really, with your continued support, I'm gonna keep making awesome stuff. And the archive universe is expanding. The Dylanverse. I don't know if I like archive universe or Dylanverse better. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm working on the next thing, and the next thing is touched upon in the backup story. The Ledge backup story. We reconnect with that character in this comic book, and introduce some new characters. And we see that the Dylanverse, the Archive universe, is all one big thing. So the way I did it was Archive, the Warhood Odyssey, Warhood Stories. That's in the future. That's my sci-fi comic book because I love sci-fi. I want to do something kind of futuristic, post-apocalyptic, and then the Oppressors with Versus. The Versus Zero issue is going to also be available as an upgrade if you want to increase money, and I'll send you one of those too. Versus, this character from the Oppressors. This is my vigilante sort of anti-hero character, current time, modern current time. And then I wanted to do like a sword and sorcery sort of mythical, magical sort of character, and so that's Syst. So the idea is that Syst is in the past, the Oppressors versus current time, and Warhood's in the future. And that way I get to kind of play in all those different genres. And the thing about being able to be an independent creator and artist and writer is I love all different kinds of comic books, and so being able to do stories in all different kinds of genres is really exciting to me. So hopefully, I'm sure that what I'm doing is you're excited about it. I'm excited about it. This is going to be my best work yet, and I'll do a little sneak peek and show some people what the interior pages look like if you want to check that out. Yeah, I think the covers came out great. As you can tell, I don't know if you can see, but the Oppressors is super gloss. It's called a UV coat. And then Syst is a textured, so it doesn't have as much shine. So kind of cool. These are the things that you can't do with digital. You can only do with a printed physical comic book. You can do these sort of printing techniques. And I'm a fan of all of that. I love different sort of printing options, and so I wanted to have the Syst comic have a texture to it, have a little bit of a grit to it, right? And I wanted the Oppressors to feel real shiny, real 90s Image Comics, high quality. I'm really thrilled with how they came out. Yeah, I've been doing printing for years. I've been in publishing for years, so I love that aspect of it. I love setting up files and doing lettering and doing pagination and all that. I like that part too. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. We are currently holding strong at 73 backers. Thank you so much to all 73 backers that have backed Syst the Skin Grafter on Kickstarter for a little bit of minutes. Only a few minutes left. So if you want to, go to systcomic.com right now and help push us to that next stretch goal. I'm going to just see if there's any comments. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. I'd love to chat with you as I draw. I'll flip the camera, I'll show it's on my drawing table, and yeah, we can kind of wind down the campaign, which has been an incredible success, and thank you so much to everyone that's helped bring it to life. The comic book is done. As soon as the campaign ends, you get your the funds transferred. I'll be able to get all the printing set up. I'll send you surveys, and then I ship out your books. So if you're only a digital backer, maybe consider upgrading to a physical reward. I'd love to send you one of the comic books, a physical comic book. If you're only a digital backer, that's awesome. I love having digital backers, but yeah, you might want to upgrade to the comic book, because the comic book's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to flip the camera and show it to my drum table. Look at that, comic books. So I'm going to pin this here and share this video. And yeah, I'm just going to do a little drawing wind down here as I just kind of chat and draw. It's the old chat and draw. Classic. The old classic chat and draw. And I'm going to share this to a page. I got to click on some of these things. And this gives you a good opportunity to see the covers a little more closely. Oh, yeah, look at that. I'm really happy with how this came out. I'm psyched about the printing. I think this is my best work yet. And I'll give everyone a little bit of a sneak peek to what the interior pages look like. So that's the inside cover, that's page 1. And then this is the start of the story. Maybe I won't give away too much. I'll show you the pages I've shown on the Instagram. I mean, on the... This is what... This is what the pages I've shown on the Kickstarter look like. So, happy to show those off because they're already there. And right now I'm just sharing this video so that people can see it. And yeah, it's good. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. This is also streaming to my YouTube. And yeah, I'm excited to be able to show everyone what the next thing looks like. And the crossover event that I've been working on is just so much fun because I've created all these characters in this world, and to be able to have them kind of interact, and have them have this whole reality and how they all would, whether they would work together, whether they would be enemies. I get such a kick out of that because I've always loved crossover comic books as a kid, reading comic books. And I remember when Image Comics did their crossovers, but they right out of the gate were doing crossovers, right? It's like, oh, Spawn and Savage Dragon and Youngblood and Spawn, and then Shadowhawk and Savage Dragon. I loved all that stuff. That stuff was so much fun to watch. And hopefully I can kind of capture some of that magic that people had and that I had for those kinds of crossover comics. All right, so now I'm going to do a sketch cover. So if you want to get these variant covers, increase any reward level 20. And if you want to get a drawing and the variant, increase it 70-ish. And if you want to get a Versus Zero comic, which I figured, I'm going to make Versus Zero comics too. And those are going to be available. And those are also, if you add, just add 10 if you want to get a Versus Zero comic. I wasn't sure if I was going to have those. I didn't know if that would be something that people would dig. But people were like, hey, you're going to make a Versus Zero comic? And I was like, sure, I could do that. So I haven't really planned out what I'm going to draw. But yeah, please feel free to chat with me if you have any questions about my series or any questions about the Kickstarter. We're holding strong at 73 backers. And thank you so much to all 73 of those backers. Probably should have planned this out before I just started randomly drawing on it. But what fun is that? Better to just start randomly drawing. Maybe I should have a plan. Should I have a plan? Nah. I'll do something like this. Yeah, that looks cool. So this person asked for 2 characters on the sketch cover. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And then I was thinking, I was like, oh, wait, what am I going to do with, how am I going to do this? No problem. Happy to do it. So, it's not that it's harder to do two characters. It's, it's not any more difficult than doing a single character. The thing about doing two characters is just composing it, There's only a finite number of ways you can have both characters get enough screen time in one of these things. Yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's fun. So I hope everyone's having a wonderful night. I'm always a little exhausted by the time a Kickstarter winds down. I love doing them. I love being able to share my work with people, and it's so awesome to be able to find people that like what I'm doing and want to support it. I love that part of it, but there is a lot of energy and effort that goes into promoting and talking about your work and trying to stay top of mind, I guess. You don't want anybody to be like, oh, you're doing a Kickstarter? I didn't hear. That's always the worst. So it's always takes a lot of energy to do that, but, I love doing it. So I love talking about my work, and I love when there's a positive response. That's really the thing, is that anytime people are like, I love what you're doing, that's so awesome, it really just fills me with such joy. And I'm always appreciative when people say that they dig what I'm creating. And really, I think if I can give anyone any sort of inspiration, the people I'm a fan of inspired me to start doing this. So hopefully people are like, oh man, I saw what you're doing and I thought I could do that. And I'm like, yeah, you totally could do this. Anybody could. All you have to do is have the desire and the determination to just not quit and just keep going, right? If I was watching the Todd McFarlane documentary, which is phenomenal, by the way. Todd McFarlane, I'm a fan. Don't know if you could tell. But the Todd Fathers documentary, which I thought was kind of brief. I enjoyed it. It was inspirational and it fired me up for sure. But I was like, man, this guy's career, they could have, they shot a lot of footage for this. I'm assuming they could have done more. It seemed like it was over rather quickly. But I hope they release a extended cut. Because he's deserving of it. If anybody's deserving of a 4-hour-long documentary, make it into 4 parts, like the Michael Jordan documentary. Or however many parts that was, 10 parts. The Michael Jordan documentary was extensive. They could have done that with this. Todd McFarlane deserves it. He's the Michael Jordan of comic books. Is Todd McFarlane the Michael Jordan of comic books? Yes or no? You be the judge. If Todd McFarlane isn't, who is the Michael Jordan of comic books? It seems like Jack Kirby's too obvious an answer. I'd say that Jack Kirby was the oh geez, I can't remember his name. Who was the guy who was on the Celtics and he won everything? Bill Russell. Thank you, brain. I think Jack Kirby's the Bill Russell of comic books, where they're just like, oh yeah, no, he just crushed everybody. He was super dominant. He was so dominant they had to change the rules. That's Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby's the Bill Russell of comic books. But Todd McFarlane is the Michael Jordan of comic books, both big in the 90s. And by far the most financially successful. Fight me. And So if Todd McFarlane is the Michael Jordan, the Kobe Bryant of comic books would be... Jeez, who's a more contemporary version of Jordan? Who's the Kobe Bryant of comic books? Sean Murphy? Maybe? Probably the most popular current artist, right? Maybe? Who would be the Tom Brady of comic books? Rob Liefeld? Yeah, it doesn't seem like the eras match up. So maybe not the best analogy. It's a fun brain exercise, though. So yeah, go to systcomic.com right now. We only have a few minutes left to be able to get... Let's get to 100 backers. Who's with me? We've got a ways to go, but maybe now's the time. Maybe now's when we get to 100 backers. You never know. Could happen. Right? Takes every one of you, every person here that goes to systcomic.com. If you go right now and back at any reward level, you will help us get closer to 100 backers. But what can I do? I've just told you what you can do. It's that easy. Yeah, and I've always done these sort of wrap-up live videos for campaigns. I think it's kind of a good way to talk to people and just kind of wind down the campaign. I enjoy being able to kind of still find a couple people that, or a lot of people that maybe didn't know the campaign was going on. I don't know how you could have avoided it, though. If you know me, you know all I've talked about for the last month is this campaign. That's all I've had to talk about. So yeah, it's looking good. Looks like character. Looks like comic book character. Yeah, if you'd like a drawing like this of one of my characters or two of my characters on a cover of Syst issue 1, go to systcomic.com and increase your pledge reward level. And I'd be happy to draw. I'm terrible at these sharpeners. Oh, I feel like I'm going to break the graphite. I'd be happy to draw my characters on your comic books you get. And thank you so much to everybody that's taken advantage of that. Makes it fun to be able to have these sketch covers available. And makes it fun to be able to draw my characters on them. So what's everybody up to tonight? Anything fun? Say hi. Say hi. Yeah, so systcomic.com. Be there or be square. Yeah, if anyone wants any of my hot takes on current events, ask away. Let's get into it. Let's get real. Let's get really real. Get really real for real. Probably not. But I don't want to know what I think. I do hope everyone's staying safe. That is something I think about. You know, this is a weird time in our lives. Very odd. And hopefully everyone's filling their lives with things they love and enjoy and is staying safe. Oh, and I got my cousin to go get me 2 Moon Knight toys at Walgreens. The Moon Knight exclusives at Walgreens. Pretty psyched. The figure looks awesome. Pretty good. So yeah, I've been drawing all day. Then went swimming in the pool quick, and played a little bit of golf. Oh, and what's everyone think of that new Batman animated split decision movie that's coming out? It's crazy, huh? I don't know how I feel about that. I prefer to enjoy my content in a linear fashion, but I'm not against technology. Maybe that helps to engage, different readers. That could be cool. Or different viewers, because it's a movie, not a book. But, clearly it's a gimmick, but, if it's a cool gimmick, just like gimmick covers, whatever you can get to get people interested in what you're doing. Yeah, nothing wrong with a gimmick, if that's your thing. So yeah, sistcomic.com, Kickstarter, currently holding strong. 73 wonderful people, 73 incredible backers. And yeah, I'm going to be hooking everybody up with bonus stuff and extra stuff. I always try to. I always want to make sure that, the people that shared the campaign, I'm incredibly grateful to them. So if you were one of those very, very nice people that shared the campaign, I'm going to try to stick extra stuff in the packages for everybody. I appreciate that immensely. And, you never know who's going to see it. That's the thing, is that what I'm doing, it's an independent comic book, and I need people to share it and talk about it so that I can find new people that like what I'm doing, and people that share the campaigns or share my live videos that like this video. Anybody that does that, I'm incredibly appreciative. It means the world to me. And I don't take it for granted. It's very, very kind of everyone. And I think that I have good content to share, right? So when people share what I'm doing and help me by talking about it or promoting it with me, I think that they can rest assured that, they're not just sharing something that's people don't give a crap about. The stuff I'm doing and the stuff that they're sharing has value. And I'm appreciative of any time I can get anyone that finds my work through a friend or, through someone saying, hey, check out what Dylan's doing. Somebody goes, oh, that's really cool. And they're like, I like this. I didn't know this was a thing. And exactly. And that happens all the time, especially in comic books, where it's like I've had people share my stuff. I just had Shelby share my stuff today, and I'm like, dude, thank you so much. And he's like, yeah, hopefully somebody that likes what I'm doing likes what you're doing. Because I'm like, totally. And Tyler Kirkham's done it. My friends, obviously, are very, very kind to do that. And I try to do the same thing. I just did a post the other day where I tried to just post as many things as I could think of that my friends were working on in one big Facebook post. I'm like, here's like 10 of my friends that are creating things. And I don't know if that benefits them directly or indirectly. You know, I tried to tag people in it so that it was something that at least the other creators would see it. You know, because maybe someone who is a friend of mine doesn't know someone else who's a friend of mine. I was thinking. So definitely it was the idea of like, hey, people who are creative people, here's some other creative people I know. And maybe you know each other and maybe you don't, but they're making stuff too. And we're all trying to make awesome stuff. And I had pretty good engagement. I think people kind of got the idea behind it. And also I wanted to do that because I feel like there's just so much negativity, and it's hard sometimes to stay motivated and excited with everything the way it is. And so I was like, if there's anything I can do to put a little bit of positivity into the universe, even just in the smallest sense, you know, just even in a post where it's like, hey, maybe somebody comes across this and they're having a crummy day and they see some of these artists and friends that I have that are making something, and maybe something here connects with them or brightens their day, and it's like, then it's worth it, you know. And that's really the way I see comic books and entertainment. It's like, you know, if you're like, what else is there? What do I have to, why keep going? There you go. There's a reason to keep going. There's a new thing coming out. You know, there's a something. Let's see if I can, how many of them I can remember. Bishop has the Bish Kids. Incredibly successful, awesome creator, awesome guy. And his friends that are, you know, have created this little Bish club. Great group of people. You can join up with that and you get a bunch of cool stuff. There you go. That's something fun. That's something to look forward to. You get a box mailed to you filled with stuff. Like a Loot Crate, but from Ben. Cool. Schmalky doing his Phantom Star comic book. There's something to look forward to. And of course his Electric Black book with Rich Woodall. And then Rich and Craig are doing Kyria. That's kickstarting. That looks awesome. Craig's work is phenomenal, and Rich's work is great too. Excited about seeing that. And what else? Tyler Kirkham's working on a creator-owned thing. Looks dope. Called Final Boss, I think. Don't really know what that's about, but cool. What else? My buddy Luis Rivera, crushing comic books. Always working on something new. He's an incredible artist. Superstar Dave. If you like Dave Cockrum's sort of classic X-Men, which I do, I love that stuff. I grew up reading that stuff and all the classic X-Men books. Definitely check out Luis Rivera's stuff. And actually, Luis Rivera's artwork available on the Kickstarter. If you go to sistcomic.com, but you better go quick because there's not much time left. Luis Rivera, Ian Chase Nichols, Chris Vance, Bill Walco, Steve Levine, the legendary Steve Levine. They're all working on stuff. Chris Vance, and their artwork's all available on the Kickstarter for a little bit of time. And what else? I don't know. So any of those things I can share. It's like maybe you find something there that you connect with and go, oh man, that's the craziest, coolest thing ever. And I'd be like, I know, right? How much fun is that? And that gives you a little bit of joy and happiness in this crazy world. That's the goal, anyway. And what else can I remember? Noah just did The Wreckage. His Kickstarter was successful. Troy Little, his Angora Napkin Kickstarter, successful. And then, who else? Scarecrow, Evan's always working on something. I haven't talked to him a little bit. Hope he's doing well back in New York City. My buddy Paul Pelletier. Been chatting with him. He's working on some cool stuff. Hey, Mike. Thank you, man. I know, and congratulations on what you're working on, your new venture. If you want to plug it, post it. And I'm interested to find out more about it. I saw you say that it's like a dream come true realization of it seems like a kind of a expansive sort of endeavor. As far as I can tell, it's like, it's shirts, it's special effects. Did I read that correctly? Or a theme park, or a little bit of everything? Like, that's cool, man. What a great, ambitious thing. I always marvel at people that are like, I'm gonna do and then they throw out this like crazy idea, and then they pull it off. Right? I'm like, wow. I would have thought, like, that's insane, but that's awesome. I think that's. I have a tough enough time coming up with 22 pages of comic book art, you know? And I've done it a few times now, and every time I'm like, oh man, so hard. And the idea of making it, like, into a movie, or making it into a animation thing, or making it into a cartoon, that's the same thing as an animation. But this idea that anytime you do anything that's ambitious like that, it's so exciting, you know? That's such a cool... I'm so envious of people that can just be like, yeah, I'm going to do this thing, and it's going to be this thing. And I'm like, that's crazy. It's so cool. So, yeah, I'm excited to see the progress. Yeah, if you need any art, let me know. And happy to figure something out with you. And, yeah, thank you for your support of my book. And my art. I appreciate it. Definitely fun to be able to draw and make comics all day and find people that like and enjoy it. Yeah, so the Kickstarter's winding down. We're currently holding strong at 73 backers. Thank you to all 73 of those incredible backers. I'm so appreciative. I realize that this is a crazy time in our lives, and the fact that you want to support my work is humbling. I'm humbled. And yeah, I'm excited to show everyone this book. Give you a little more sneak peek since we're winding down. And I'm going to be able to do little head sketches and stuff in there if people want them. I'll show you the pages that were released on the Kickstarter page. Definitely a fun, over-the-top, Chromium Age sword and sorcery comic. Right? That's a thing. It's like Conan. Kind of like a Conan. It's like a scary Conan. It's funny, I showed it to some people and they're like, that's gross. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of gross. They're like, the other books weren't that gross. I'm like, they were. They were. Maybe you just didn't look at them. I think all my books have kind of got some undertones of stuff. I don't know if people always pick up on it, but it's there. Oh, it's there. So I'm going to keep drawing this. This is the Kickstarter wind down. And thank you so much to everybody. Oh, yeah, and if you want copies of the Oppressors are available in the campaign. Blank variants. Everybody's getting the standard cover. But if you upgrade, you can get the blank variant and the big head variant. And, of course, Oppressors comics. And if you want any additional items or you want to add or bundle items or shirts or hats or masks or art, whatever you want, happy to do it. I'm happy to add anything anybody would like to their reward. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just got a message. Checking my messages. All right, back to the drawing table. So I hope everyone's having a wonderful night. I hope everyone's staying cool. It's a little warm here in sunny southern Maine. And if you do have anything you want to promote or talk about, feel free to post it below. I'm always happy and excited to see what other people are working on. A lot of great stuff on Kickstarter right now. I know that Brian Polito's Lady Death, which I'm a fan of, that's kicking off, or has kicked off, I think they were launching it today. I've met Brian a couple of times. Very nice guy, so definitely, obviously, he doesn't need, you don't need me to tell you to go back his campaign. He's kind of make $500,000, I'm sure. But yeah, definitely support comic books, and if whatever kind of comic books those are, whatever kind of comic books you like, support them. I buy comic books. I love comic books. I want comic books to be a thing that exists forever. And the only way to do that is by supporting them. And when you support artists and writers on crowdfunding campaigns, you're directly helping those people create work. As opposed to if you nothing wrong with publishers, but comic book stores definitely buy from publishers and comic book stores too, for sure. But the great thing about Kickstarters is it goes directly to the creative people, which I am one of those people. I directly benefit from somebody supporting my Kickstarter campaign. And my whole creative team does too. And I am my whole creative team. It's like, geez, how many people are in your creative team? I am the creative team. I do it all. Because I love doing it all. Sometimes think like, geez, maybe it'd be fun to bring in someone to collaborate with. It's like, yeah, I'll just do it myself. I don't like doing it myself. But that being said, if you are a writer or a publisher and you would like to hire me for projects, shoot me a message. Interested to see what you got going on. Always interested to hear what my friends are doing. If they think I'd be a good fit for something they're working on, let me know. It's always fun to work on other people's things. I am a freelance illustrator. So the idea of needing artwork, if you need my artwork, let me know. Happy to do it, depending on the project, if I'm a good fit for it. Not a great fit for everything, but good fit for a lot of things. So what's everyone up to tonight? Right now, Good and Evil is just a brand idea. Ambitious ideas and dreams around it. I'm starting the journey now. Yeah. Honestly, Mike, just hearing your excitement and seeing your energy and enthusiasm about it, it's contagious, and I think that's the thing about what I'm doing and what you're doing is, it's like, I don't know where this is going. I don't know what, all I know is I just love doing this and I just want to do this. And so definitely seeing how excited you are and seeing the fact that you've started creating merch and start to kind of just put out into the universe, like you're saying, put out in the universe. It could be this, it could be that, it could be this. It's so fun, It's just kind of I know when I was doing Archive, my very first Kickstarter campaign, I had just penciled pages. I hadn't even inked them. And I'm like, I don't know what this is gonna be, but this is what it is. And people are like, okay, this could be a thing. I was like, yeah, you think so? And they're like, well, yeah, why don't you try this, try that, try this. And then just through years of refining and honing it and working on it, now I have, multiple volumes of archive, 6 collected issues and then I have Ledge, who was a real fun character, and then I did The Oppressors with Versus and Spine and Bulgarian and all these crazy characters. And then I'm like, let's do a Sword and Sorcery book. All right, so now I'm doing Cyst. And then I'm like, what about if they all crossed over? Sure. So then I'm doing the crossover book, which is the next thing. And I wanted it to just keep growing. Like, I don't know where this is going, but all I know is I'm having a ball working on it, Every day I wake up and I'm like, oh man, I get to do this? I get to work on this stuff? All these characters I created, this world I'm building? So I would hope everyone has that same sort of joy and enthusiasm for whatever they're working on. And I'm so excited for you and what you're doing, and I can't wait to see what it looks like, man. Who knows what it'll be, but whatever it is, as long as you're enjoying it and you're passionate about it, it's because, like I've said before, it's the world can be a difficult place. Whatever you can do to fill your life with things you love and enjoy. I chose comic books, sequential art, stories, characters, heroes, monsters, good guys, good girls, bad girls, villains, heroes. I said heroes already. That's what I choose to fill my life with. And yeah, I love it. I'm excited every day to wake up and do this kind of stuff. And because of Kickstarter and 73 incredible backers, thanks so much to all 73 backers, I'm able to continue to make stuff. And it means the world to me. And I'm always excited to see when other people are like, I'm gonna make a movie, and then they go out and they make a movie. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. This person just made a movie. It's nuts. It's doable. You just gotta do it. It's one of those things, like, Steven Spielberg started with something. I don't know what his first movie was. Probably actually, funny thing about Steven Spielberg, I heard, and I'm not a Steven Spielberg historian by any stretch, but I heard that he did a student film, which was like a rocking chair, and there was music playing and the chair was rocking, and then it like stopped rocking as the sun was setting in a field. And that was the student film he made. And he made it, with his friends in whatever school he was at. And then his friend, he made whatever his first movie was. I don't know if it was E.T. No, probably not E.T. Maybe. Poltergeist? No. I don't know. Whatever his first movie was. After that, his friend saw the movie. He's like, whoa, the movie's great. So he sent him a letter like, hey, Steve, that was a great movie. And he's like, but, I didn't realize that he was now the most famous person in the world. And I just knew him as the guy at school that I made that movie with a rocking chair in it. And it's like, it's true, man. These people that have created and done incredible things, historically gigantic, monumental things, they started by just making some fun student film. A rocking chair out in a field. And that led to Jaws, and led to E.T., and led to whatever other movie Steven Spielberg's on, I can't think of right now. Stan Lee crayon in his 40s. Yeah. Funny you say that. Yeah, Shelby is incredible. Yeah, I like Shelby's stuff so much, and you hear some of his stories. He's got some great stories. Incredibly talented guy and really nice guy. And yeah, we were chatting today. It's just great stories. You know, a guy's been around the business forever. Just so funny to hear him speaking about it. So cool. Yeah, Jack Kirby and Stanley. Like, if you think about this idea that there's a time limit on creativity or inspiration or yeah, I don't believe any of that. Jack Kirby created the Fantastic Four in his 40s. Granted, Jack Kirby had been working professionally on like Rawhide Kid and doing strips, did Captain America with Simon much earlier than that, so it's not like he hadn't been around the business. But yeah, I mean, you can do it now, or you can do it later, or you could not do it at all. But you can't go back. You can't wish that you had done it earlier. There's only now or in the future. And so that's kind of the way I look at it. It's like, well, can either, like this sketch cover I was asked to draw, right, by a very generous backer. It was like, hey, can you draw 2 of your characters on a sketch cover? Sure. I can do it now or I can do it in the future. But I can't, I've already done it. So that's always how I prevent myself from procrastinating. And maybe it makes it so I have a little less chill than I could. Because some people can be like, yeah, let's just do it tomorrow. And it's like, yeah, or I could just do it right now. So, it's something I have to be aware of. But, yeah, I hate putting things off. You know, it's just not my way. So the fact that I do make comics and that I started making comics, I looked at videos, because occasionally on Facebook you'll get like oh, this was what you're doing a year ago. And guess what I was doing a year ago? I was wrapping up a Kickstarter campaign. I'm like, oh, jeez. Guess this is the month I do Kickstarter campaigns. I guess I kind of realized that, but I usually do them in January and July. I don't know why. I guess I just kind of was like, that's the months that were open or available. I mean, open, but available or weren't conflicting with anything that I knew of. So it's like, isn't that funny that you get into these? It's like, yeah, and guess what? Probably going to do another Kickstarter for the crossover book. This one's gone well. I got 73 awesome backers with 40 minutes to go. And if you haven't yet, go to systcomic.com. What are you waiting for? Up your pledge right now. Everybody that's already backed for a thing, up your pledge right now and I'll give you more things. I'll send you a Versus Zero. I was going to save this till next week to tell you, but I might as well tell you now. There's 2 covers to the Versus Zero. I know. The color cover and the black and white cover. I did 2 covers for Versus Zero. What? That's right. So if you go right now to syscomic.com and up your pledge, I'll send you both. Because I'd love to get to 1,000 backers. Let's get to 1 million backers. I want to do Todd McFarlane numbers. Is that a little too ambitious? Never. I'm working it, make it into a reality. I'm manifesting it. Positive, the power of positive thinking. Will it into existence. I believe in that stuff. Why not? So this bristles on this thing are a little squanchy. Yeah, and I often look at Kirby's art and I'm like, oh man. Just the energy he was able to have. And I didn't always get it. You know, when I was younger, I was probably one of those people that was like, not enough lines. I don't remember connecting. I think Superpowers was really the first Kirby stuff I saw, and that was towards the end of his career. But I definitely appreciated it. I remember, and I've told this story before, but I was in middle school, and they're like, "All right, do a your hero thing, right?" And then like tell who your hero is. And I was on a big Kirby kick. I was, 13. And I was like, oh, all my artists, all the guys I'm a fan of, all the image guys talk about Kirby as the king. So I'm like, I'd like to learn more about him. So I'm going to do the poster book report on Kirby. If I could pull that bristle out. So did a report on Jack the King Kirby, and was like the night before the weekend before the report, you had to like present in front of the class. I saw a Jack Kirby as SNL, and they're doing the weekend update, and it was like, I don't know who was doing the weekend update, if it was Miller or if it was who's that other guy that's a weekend update? Norm McDonald. Might have been Norm McDonald. I don't know. Or I don't even know who the other guys were that did a weekend update back in the 90s. But comes on and goes, and this just in, we have reports that Jack Kirby, famous comic book artist, passed away at the age of, I don't know what it was, 78 or 88 or whatever. I said, but don't worry, they're planning to bring him back in a future issue. And I was crushed. I was like, what? Like, they just joked about the guy who I'm doing a book report about? Who is your hero report? So I had the poster all done. I had actually drawn it's a terrible drawing, but I tried to draw a caricature of Jack Kirby on a piece of poster board. Not a very good likeness, but I tried. And I drew like Fantastic Four and X-Men and maybe the Hulk, I think, maybe Captain America. On this poster board, like their head surrounding his giant head. Not a great composition. And people were unimpressed. And I was like, yeah, everybody, my report's on Jack Kirby. And, this is the things he's created and why he's so important and why he's so revered. And, I just found out on SNL, I found out that he died. I heard it in a stand-up bit, a joke on SNL. Like, so there you go, no one cares. I was like, okay, do it. Bunch of unimpressed 13-year-olds. Like, nobody else think that's crazy? Like, what are the chances? Like, yeah, I guess the chances are good because it happened. Mike, yeah, the sci-fi Todd McFarlane documentary. Now, I got a question for you. Did you think it was a little brief? I heard some people say, like, they've been hyping this sci-fi doc for a year, and it seemed like it was, it was great and inspiring for sure. But it seems like it could have gone a lot deeper. Like I say in the Michael Jordan documentary, it was hours and hours of content. This one seemed rather like it touched upon all the important stuff, I guess. But I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I wanted it to be longer, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that was just I was wanting. It left me wanting. But I will say this about that Todd McFarlane documentary. I do not appear in it at all. That I can tell. But they shot all that on the Todd tour I did. I essentially followed Todd McFarlane around the summer of the 300th issue of Spawn. I was at every show that he was at. San Diego, New York, Boston. He did all those conventions. And I saw him and went to every panel, and every time you see a panel, him speaking at San Diego in that documentary, I'm in that room. So that small room with Greg Capullo, where he's wearing the hat, I'm on the far left side. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy. And then the other speech that he's given, where he's wearing like a blue shirt, I think, and he's at a panel, and he's talking about Bond 300 coming out, it's gonna be the biggest thing ever. I was at that panel. I was in the front row, or the fifth row, and I have proof. I have photos from those panels. So if anybody's like, you weren't at that, you didn't go to that you weren't there when they were filming that documentary. Yes, I was. And I met Todd, and I got a photo with him, and he's a super nice guy. And I'm a huge fan. John Byrne, first artist hero. Yeah, John Byrne. I loved his Fantastic Four stuff. Loved his X-Men stuff. Loved his Captain America stuff. He was one of those guys that was just hitting on all cylinders. Had no weaknesses. Had no flaws in his technique. Oh, only 32 minutes left. Go to systcomic.com right now. Everybody, go right now. Up your pleasure word level. You're running out of time. And just one of those guys that was just exceptional, and he never was someone that inspired me to draw, though. I don't know why. Like, even now, I'm like, yeah, this stuff's great. And I read a lot of it growing up, for sure. His Fantastic Four stuff was great. His X-Men stuff was great. I didn't really read much of the Next Men, but I respected it. And just was never a guy who I was his Superman stuff? Maybe his Superman stuff might have, when he did that Superman Man of Steel reboot. Maybe that. But even that, I was like, yeah, no, I mean, this is just not something that I read it almost like a passive observer, as opposed to some artists like Todd McFarlane or Jack Kirby, where I'm like an inspired creator. I'm like, oh man, I want to see how they're doing that. But with John Byrne, I was just like, nope, I don't get it. Just so perfect and so impeccably skilled that I couldn't imagine trying to figure it out or draw any of these characters in that style. It just seemed too flawless. As opposed to like punk rock, right? Like, I think about like punk rock. I think about comic books like punk rock. I think about a lot of things like punk rock. But I think about comic books like punk rock because it's like, I love listening to classical music, for sure. Don't have any desire to learn it. Don't have any desire to really listen to it for long periods of time. I think it's great. And I appreciate the talent and ability that goes into creating it. But I never want to make me go, oh, you know what? I'd love to pick up a violin and just crank out some Beethoven or Mozart. Never happened. But I go to a punk rock show and I see somebody smashing a guitar. I'm like, yeah, that I could do. Let's do that. And I think the comics are like that, where if they're too perfect or too polished, people kind of... That's why I think digital might be a deterrent for a lot of people, because they go, I don't get it. It's like, I don't understand how those marks are made. I don't have any desire to do that because I can't comprehend it. But punk rock, everybody, rock and roll, everybody picks up a guitar. Everybody's like, I get it. Yeah. Play hard, play fast, play loud. Yeah. That's attainable. That's achievable. And it was. I've been in bands and played music for a long time. So I know what I speak of. One of the longer is saving a longer talk for a later day, so I'm right on 29. Yeah. I didn't go to Toronto. It was the one show I didn't see him at. That's cool. Yeah, McFarlane's just one of those iconic guys. that just been around the industry for so long, and I think like Frank Miller, probably one of my favorite creators, or maybe my favorite creator is Frank Miller. But Todd McFarlane's just been doing it for so long. I think Todd McFarlane's the next Stan Lee. Because people are like, oh, who's going to replace Stan Lee as the sort of ambassador of the industry, right? That everybody's going to want to go. And, there's no replacing Stan Lee. But I heard some people say, like, oh, Kevin Smith will be that guy. And I was like, I don't know, Kevin Smith's not really in the comic book. He is, but peripherally, And they're like, oh, Frank Miller, maybe he'll be the... And then you're like, nah, Frank Miller, I don't think has the how you say, je ne sais quoi, no, I don't know. It doesn't have the sort of personality to be that Carnival Barker character. But Todd McFarlane, he's taken on that mantle of the face of modern comic books. And just like Stan Lee had his people that criticized him, and obviously no one goes through life perfect, but I think he did more than he helped, more than he hurt, hopefully. I think Todd McFarlane would be that sort of guy to carry that torch, I hope, I think someone needs to. I think someone needs to be able to have the Stan Lee, Carnival Barker mentality. And if it's Todd McFarlane, yeah, all right. So we're currently at 73 backers, holding strong at 73 backers. Thanks so much to all 73 backers. I really, really, really appreciate it. We are at $2,516. Definitely an awesome campaign. Thrilled to be able to offer this book to everyone. So excited to share it with everybody. I've backed 289 campaigns. Even if I just chipped in $1 for all those campaigns, which I did more than that, I'm sure. It's a lot of campaigns I've backed. It's kind of fun. I like backing campaigns. It's one of those fun things. But yeah, we are running out of time. So, yeah. I'm going to keep drawing. I'll keep drawing this cover. Donnie Cates, someone I think can carry the Stanley torch down the road with how he's breathing out. Yeah. I like what Donnie Cates is doing, for sure. Been reading some of the Venom stuff. And, I think that Marvel is, they're looking for their next iconic guy. And I think they obviously want it to be a writer, because the industry kind of going in that direction. They don't. And I think that it's funny because Dave Finch was just speaking on his thing, and he's like, yeah, it's... Once internet reviews became a thing, writers became more important. It's like writers were never that important, especially in Marvel, because of the Marvel method. It's like, they wrote an outline, and the artist was the important guy because he took that scrap of paper that had a little bit of idea on it and he made it into a whole thing. And the writer would come back in and do dialogue. And it's like the writer was never the guy. It was always the artist. That was the most important part of that chain of production. And then once all the artists in the 90s left, Marvel said, never again. Never again will we promote books by art team. So, what's the only other way to promote a book? By writer, because you could have writers writing multiple books. They can be writing their own creator-owned indie book and a book at Marvel, and it doesn't. They aren't just picking up and taking off. And so they started doing that, which, yeah, that's cool. But I do think the art is the most important part of a comic book, personally. Because you can pick up a comic book and immediately go, yeah, or nah, just by looking at it. And not a lot of things you can do that with. Movies you can't, you gotta watch the whole movie. Books you can't, you gotta read the whole book. Comic books you can pretty quickly make a snap judgment and decision whether or not it's something that you connect with based on the art. Now, is that always an accurate assessment? No, there have been a lot of times that I've seen comic books and I've been unimpressed or uninspired by the artwork, and I go home and I read it and I go, I was an idiot. I should have been on this since the beginning. This is awesome. I don't want to give too many of those examples of those things because it makes it sound like I'm a moron. I'd say Chris Somney is one of those guys. At first I was like, I don't get it. What kind of cartoony? And then I read it and I was like, oh man, this is crazy good. So yeah, Somney is definitely one of those guys that I totally changed my tune on. I'd say every artist. Maybe that's not a great example. I've changed my mind on so many artists. I've seen their work initially and gone, eh. And then a year later I'm like, oh yeah, the best thing ever. I don't know why that is. Maybe that's just me. Is that just me or is that everyone else? Thanos, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Doctor Strange, Venom, Silver Thread. Yeah. I honestly know a little bit of the Venom stuff. I read more DC stuff. Don't read a lot of Marvel stuff just because, I don't know, there hasn't been anything I've been super psyched about, but I think that the Venom stuff I read was good, for sure. And it feels like, yeah, they want Donald Cates to be kind of the go-to guy, and I guess, they want him to be their Scott Snyder, I guess. I don't know. Which is cool. Yeah, great. I think we need more creators that can bring content that sells books and excites fans, and then you can make it into a movie and make it into a TV show. And first off, you have to have some cool stuff, though. Start with the cool stuff. That's important. And, what's everybody looking forward to as far as comics go? I've got some things on my need-to-order list. I love Matt Wagner's stuff, and they just released a Matt Wagner Batman collection. Gotta get that. And what else do I love? And what else is good? Body Bags. Didn't realize that book had been redone. Gonna get that. What else is good? Brad Meltzer's Justice League run, which I really liked, was collected. So I'm gonna grab that. And what else is good? I guess that's it. Yeah, Sean Murphy's great. I've kind of know Sean in the way that anyone knows anyone. But he's a really nice guy. I've chatted with him a bunch of times. And he hangs out at the comic book store I hang out with. He lives in the same town. He's from New Hampshire, which is not too far from where I live. So he lives in Portland, and I go to the comic book store in Portland. Same state. I mean, not the same town. Same state. So, yeah, humble brag, but, kind of friends with important people, I'm just saying. I'm sure that everyone says the same thing about me, like, oh, I know Dylan. Oh, he's a delight. Be like, oh my God, you know Dylan? That guy? Is he a nice guy in real life? And I'll be like, no, he is a jerk. He is such a jerk. And I'll be like, I knew it. It was all an act. He pretended to be nice. Like, oh, what a jerk. I hope people think I'm a nice guy. But yeah, I chatted with Sean a bunch of times. I'm losing my voice. Chatted with Sean a bunch of times, and I know him in the sense that if I went, oh, hey, what's up? He'd go, oh, hey, what's going on? That's about as far as our relationship goes. But I'll take it. I like knowing people. I like knowing people whose work I respect and are incredibly talented. And he definitely falls in that category. And he's, yeah, I mean, obviously an incredible draftsman, phenomenal storyteller. So yeah, this is the point of the comic book art where I start to get tired. Tell everyone I know Dylan, he put me in his comic book as a zombie. That is true. I did. I offered that. Oh, I didn't offer that this time. Be drawn in the book. I enjoyed that, but it's a little, honestly, it's a little stressful for me to put people in my comic book. I've seen other creators do that. I think I got that trick from my good friend Mr. Ben Bishop, also an incredibly talented, wonderful human being. He was doing that, and he's the Kickstarter king. I mean, the guy, and going to be working on, I think he's announced it, the Last Ronin book, with his good friend Mr. Kevin Eastman. And yeah, Bishop was like, the draw in the book option. I'm like, oh, that's cool, I could offer that. And then I did it, and I'm like, oh, this is stressful, because it's like you want them to look like the backer. And, you know, doing likenesses is always a bit of a trick. And you have to get them to, as you know, send them images of themselves, which everybody did. They complied with and were able to send me good images. But it's a bit weird, you know, it is a bit odd to be like, hey, can you send me photos of yourself, like, looking like a zombie? Is that cool? Don't worry, I won't use it for anything weird. And I'm like, why did I offer this? This is stressful. But everybody dug it, and it was fun. And then I think people like being used as reference, you know. Kind of a fun story they could tell. I might offer that again in the future, but the other thing I wasn't thrilled about with that is I worry that it takes people out of the story. And maybe that's ridiculous, but it's kind of like when you're watching a movie and you're like, oh, it's Bruce Willis, you know? And it's like, yeah, but it's 12 Monkeys. Like, you're supposed to get caught up in the fact that it's 12 Monkeys and it's not Brad Pitt and Bruce Willis running around in the snow. And you're like, oh, yeah, no, okay. Sorry, I got a little distracted by Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt running around in the snow. It's like, what do we want? What is this movie about again? It's like, time travel, I think? I don't know. So I think I'm always a little cautious about that as a storyteller. I want to make sure I'm trying to bring people into this world, holding their attention, moving them sequentially through what I would like them to see, and then having them come out of the experience. And I worry when I throw in like likenesses or like, that's why also I think artists don't do it. Like if you show a president, you show him kind of, or a world leader, you know, you have a generic kind of fill-in, or you show them in kind of a shadow, because I don't think you can use their likeness without their consent. But although maybe you can. Eric Larson and Savage Dragon said Barack Obama and Bill Clinton and all of the presidents, because it's real time. But if it's not real time, you'd be like, oh, you know, it's like, oh, this, you know, I thought Spider-Man was taking place now. How come he's talking with Reagan? It's like, yeah. It's like Dark Knight Returns. Reagan is in that. And you're like, oh, okay. So this is like a future in the past where Reagan's alive. It's like, yeah. Does that make the story better? Different. It's a little disorienting. It does kind of cement it in a time and place, as opposed to if it was just a generic president figure. You could have a little bit more of it, be like, oh yeah, that is a president, not the president at the time. I tell everyone I know Dylan. Yeah. Tell everyone you know me. See where it gets you. Get you nowhere. No, everyone would be like, oh man, he's the best. And you can be like, he's alright. if you like comics, he's okay. He's like mild salsa. Yeah. It's good, but, yeah, nothing special. No, I'm teasing. I'm very special. I'm spicy salsa. What was I doing? Oh, yeah, I was drunk. So, yeah, thanks to everybody that's helped to bring Cyst, the Skin Grafter, to life. 13 minutes left in this epic draw-a-thon along. I'll be happy to have this campaign wrapped up. Thank you so much to everybody that's backed it. It means the world to me. The next phase in this drawing is I have to erase all of this pencil. I think erasing the pencil is maybe my least favorite part of the process. You know why? Because it seems counterproductive to me. Which is why I like using blue lines and keeping a pencil version. Because I spent time and energy putting down all these pencils. To what? Just erase them? What a waste. Why even draw them? I should just Kim Jong-gi it and just go straight to ink. It's like, why would I bother penciling something and just erase it? It's stupid. But with blue lines, I could not even follow the pencils half the time. Like, what are these lines up here? These aren't going anywhere. Just drew them for fun. Silliness. Dark Knight Returns is my all-time favorite story. Yeah, I have the artist edition. Right over there. Right over there. Should I get it? Have you seen the artist edition, Mike? Dark Knight Returns? I could get it. Let me go get it. It's very heavy. I think last time during a live I tried to grab an artist edition. I almost killed myself. Yeah. The only problem with this artist edition is that, for one thing, it's heavy. Oh man. The only problem with this artist edition is that it has a lot of missing pages. And I understand why it would have to. Because, these pages were produced a long time ago, and they were sold for big bucks. We kind of scattered to the wind. But, there's the end pages. So cool. Yeah, I'm definitely influenced by Klaus Jansson's inks, and getting to see these pages blown up super big, you go, oh yeah, and all the whiteout he used, you're like, oh, like that's the helicopter blade. It's just a squiggly brush line. Like we see this stuff colored by Lynn Barley, and you're like, it's a masterpiece. But when you see the actual rough inks, you're like, oh no, this is just, it's phenomenal cartooning. But there's a lot of whiteout and a lot of correcting going on. Oh, it's a very heavy book. But there's a lot of missing pages, which is a bummer. I almost kind of wish that they do a better job tracking those pages down. Yeah, it's an incredible book. And really just an amazing record of, one of the most iconic comic books ever. So my story of reading comic books, Frank Miller, probably my favorite comic book creator ever. And when I first started reading, my first comic book was Wolverine issue 4 of the miniseries that he did with Wolverine with the crossbow on. And so I got that, and then I got like Wolverine and Kitty Pryde. That was another one at the time. That's about 5. But I remember vividly not knowing the difference. Like, wait, how do these connect? I was like, okay, and in this comic book, he's cutting a suitcase open with money and cocaine and drugs in it. And then in this comic book, he's fighting a guy with a demon mask. And why can this girl pass through walls? I thought it was all just one long story. I didn't get which one came first or second or why they were different. I didn't know. I was a kid because I was 5. So I would study those comics, and every time Wolverine had his claws in, I would draw them out. with red Sharpie markers, red markers, Crayola markers. So I ruined a lot of comic books that way, but Frank Miller's comic books were my earliest memory of comic books. Those were the first ones I got. And so, loved comics, read a lot of comics, just tons of comics. And then later, kind of stopped or fell out of it or wasn't as connected to it for a while. As you do, kind of come in and out of things. And my uncle, who's an artist, had a copy of Batman Dark Knight Returns. The version where it kind of looks like it's digitally painted and it's Batman and he's... if you saw it, you'd recognize it. It's like the book edition, like the bookshelf edition. I think you got it at a bookstore or something. And it's collections trade. And when I saw that, I didn't understand that. I'm like, wait, the first time I read Dark Knight Returns, I was whenever it came out, 10 years old or whatever. I didn't get this, that there are people talking in those TV sets. Like, I didn't know what that was. Like now you're like, oh, obviously he's cutting to like TV screens, and those people in those TV screens are speaking. But to someone who was a fan of comics, that whole storytelling notion seemed very odd to me, and I did not understand it. And even now you're like, oh yeah, I could see how that is a hard book for a young person to wrap their mind around. It just doesn't look like a comic. The way the panels look, the way the stories works, it feels very odd. Hey, we only got 6 minutes to go. But I love that, obviously. I loved it. And then I got into the Daredevil stuff after. So I went back to his Daredevil stuff. But I didn't start with his Daredevil stuff. I started with his Wolverine stuff. And then his Batman stuff. And then his Sin City stuff. Yeah. And so every time I was like, comic books, I don't know. Maybe it's nothing that's inspiring to me anymore. Anytime I kind of started to fall out of it, Frank Miller redefined the genre for me. Or defined it again, or defined it for the first time, in the case of Wolverine. So this idea that Frank Miller's work, every time I turned around, it's like his work was like, oh, boom, here's another crazy thing you never knew this could be. I was like, what? And so I still, 300 was another series where I'm like, okay, this is a crazy thing. And, and then Dark Knight 2, which people weren't as thrilled about at the time. That was another thing where I saw that and I'm like, I don't get it. But now that's one of my favorite comic books of all time. That Dark Knight Rises, DK2, what do they call it? Reread that now and you'll be like, oh, yeah, it was all right there. We just didn't appreciate it. Especially if you get the noir edition, the black and white edition, because the digital colors on that book really look odd to me still. I get that they were trying something, and I thought it was it was ambitious, but black and white is the way to read that book, for sure. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Maurice, so we are currently kicking butt, and we only have a few minutes left. And then we can do other things and work on new stuff, create new awesome things. And let me show you this. This is, if you do want to get one of these, you better hurry and up your pledge right now. If you want to get drawings on the sketch cover, that's $70. Right now, just time is running out. And you could get a sketch cover with some drawings on it. Oops, see a spot I didn't put gray? Gotta put gray everywhere. Right. I'll sign it and everything. Yeah, and the fun thing about this campaign is that the comic's already done, which is nice, because with the Oppressors, the last one, I had to make it. I was like, ugh, a lot of work. But it's better to have the work done. And then you're like, oh, the work's all done. Yeah, why not? I have faith that I'll be able to hit goal. And put my name up at the top here. And I'll put some white splatter in it. Put ice on it. And thanks so much, everybody, for watching me draw. And thank you all so much for going to assistcomic.com and helping us to hit goal. And yeah, I'm going to be sending out Kickstarter awards. Make sure that your account information is up to date so that you will be charged and you'll be able to get your rewards. Just make sure that, if Kickstarter reaches out and says, hey, you got to update your blah, 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 you do that. Whatever they want. And that's what that looks like. It's fun drawing, right? That's kind of how I draw. You get it. You get what I'm trying to do here, right? I think so. I think everybody likes what I'm doing, gets this, and understands it. It's fun. It's all good fun. Yeah, thanks so much, Mike. And let me just flip the camera and thank everybody so much. Boink. Hey, all right, thank you all so much. The countdown is almost over. We are at 100 seconds. So this Kickstarter campaign was a lot of fun. I realize there's a lot of things going on right now, and to be able to make comics and share them with you and find people that love and enjoy and appreciate my work means so much to me. And I say that every time, but it's true every time. And that's the thing, is that I hope that everyone realizes that this is genuine. This is genuinely me appreciating and thanking everybody that backs the campaigns I do, that supports my work, and that enjoys watching me draw, and that wants to see what I come up with next, because I got a lot of cool ideas. I'm going to keep making comics. The archive universe continues to expand, and if you want art from me, even if the campaign is over, if you want merch, if you want hats or shirts or anything, batlanticstore.com is where you can get masks and hats and shirts and all sorts of cool stuff. Original art, commissions, pages from the comic books I've done. Yeah, anything that you need. If the campaigns aren't currently running, batlanticstore.com is the place where you'll be able to grab that stuff. And yeah, I think that's it. We only have 30 seconds left in the Kickstarter campaign. 73 backers. So psyched. I wasn't sure with this campaign because you never know with any of these things how they're going to go. You always hope for the best, but I realize that there's a lot of other things that you could be spending your time doing and enjoying and appreciating, and so the fact that you want to spend your time with me and my work, thank you. So let's do a countdown now. We have 11 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. Campaign is over. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. The fireworks go off, the sparkles. Yeah, it really means a lot to me. I'm psyched that this campaign is through. I'm psyched that we hit goal. I'm psyched that 73 backers want to see my work. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody that shared it. Thank you everybody that backed it. Thank you everybody that cares about what I'm doing. Yeah, thank you. So that's it. I'm done. What do I do now? I guess I just keep working. I don't know. I don't know what else to do. All I do is work. Ask my wife. So, all right. Syscomic.com. That's a wrap. Keep an eye on your inbox for your reward surveys if you're a backer. I'm going to be sending those out this week and doing fulfillment. Comic books are ready to go. Just got to sign them and put all the bundles and packages together and pack everything and ship them out to you. So keep an eye on your inbox for your reward survey, and make sure your credit card information is up to date so that you get your awesome rewards, because that's the thing, is you have to make sure that you get charged so that I can make sure I can send you the right stuff. So thank you so much. All right, that's it. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Bye.